I've been in Vegas 3 years. What city do you call home?
Well, I live in Muscle Shoals, Alabama.
Where?
Muscle Shoals, Alabama, which is in the northwest corner of Alabama. A lot of people hear Muscle Shoals and think it's the beach, but we're actually on the Tennessee River.
Got it. So,
And go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
They do a lot of music recording here, like the Rolling Stones have recorded here. Alicia Keys pretty recently, Steven Tyler fairly recently. They call the Tennessee River the Singing River. And of course, if you've ever heard the song Sweet Home Alabama, it talks about the Swampers. And they were like a group of musicians that played on a lot of records and things like that. But yeah, it's a big recording town.
That's so cool. And it's called what?
Muscle Shoals.
How do you spell it? Just like Mussel?
Well, it's actually, Muscle, but like they say the name came from mussels in the Tennessee River, but they don't spell it like the mussels you eat, which is interesting. But it is what it is.
So were you born and raised in Alabama? I know you went to college there.
I did. I was actually born in Coleman, Alabama, and I lived there until I left for college, and I graduated from the University of North Alabama, which is actually in Florence, which is across the river from Muscle Shoals. But yeah, Channing Tatum and I have the same hometown.
Do you know her? Oh, him?
No, I don't. But ironically, we both, I think when he was 6, he went to live with his grandparents that lived in Mississippi. But ironically, we did leave Coleman at the same time. So yeah, he's a little younger than I am, but yeah, about 12 years. But
wow, he's handsome.
Oh yeah, he was like People's Sexiest Man of the Year several years ago, and that was kind of cool that somebody from my hometown was the Sexiest Man of the Year. But of course, I'm a big Bradley Cooper fan. So
now he's from the South.
I'm not sure where Bradley Cooper's from.
He sure has a Southern accent, doesn't he?
Oh, I don't know.
Where is Brad? I'm going to look him up right now. Bradley Cooper.
Okay. And I know, Josh Lucas has played some Southern roles. He's one of my other celebrity crushes. But
who is?
Josh Lucas.
Now, who's that?
He was in Sweet Home Alabama with Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah.
But I actually did extras casting on the movie Space Warriors that filmed in Huntsville, Alabama, and he was one of the main characters in that also. So I've actually met him before.
Yeah. Wow. Look at you go, girl. That's awesome. Well, let's go into your introduction, and then we're going to go chronologically through your life. I guess it's this way. Which way is it for you? Left to right would be like this?
Yes.
Okay. So weird. Okay. I'm going to do your intro, okay?
Okay.
All right. Joyce Liles was born in I don't have my glasses on. This is ridiculous. Joyce Liles was born to entertain. She started singing in church at age 5. Isn't that cool? She started playing clarinet in her school band in the 5th grade. In high school, she marched the color guard. She attended the University of North Alabama, like she just said, on a band scholarship. She was also a member of the Collegiate Singers while she was there. She was born to entertain, wasn't she? She began acting at age 35 in a community theater production of Kiss Me Kate. She began doing comedy in February 2018. She recently appeared in season 13 of Kenan Thompson Presents the Ultimate Comedy Experience. I love that. They had that here in Vegas a couple of years ago. She will begin a 4-state tour. It's a comedy tour beginning November 30th. And that is amazing. And so, Joyce, what's the name of your comedy tour starting out November 30th?
It's called the Authentic Alabama Comedy Tour.
All right. And why did you name it that?
Actually, Bobby Sutton, who's one of the other comedians on tour, came up with that. Of course, Bobby and I'm 55, she is 52, and we've talked about doing a tour in the future called Hot Flashers, like getting a bunch of older female comedians together. And we talked about maybe naming this tour the Hot Flash Tour, because Ty's a hot flash of Ty. But we do have a male comedian who's younger on the tour with us, so we decided to save the Hot Flash or the Hot Flashers tour for later, and go with our original vision for that. And Bobby was like Googling words that started with A. We ended up landing on authentic. So yeah,
I love that. So you're going to go through 3 or 4 states in your tour.
Originally, we were supposed to do 4. Now we're doing 3, because we'll have 2 shows in Alabama, and then 1 in Virginia, and then 1 in Charlotte, North Carolina.
And what are the cities you'll be performing in?
We'll be in Tuscumbia, Alabama, which is the birthplace of Helen Keller. There's a little bit of history. That's actually right next to Muscle Shoals. Anniston, Alabama, Richmond, Virginia, and Charlotte, North Carolina.
Awesome. So little tidbit for anyone listening, and maybe if you're interested too, Joyce. In 1973, I joined the Army. I was in the Women's Army Corps, and I was right by Anniston, Alabama at Fort McClellan.
Yeah. No, well, my ex-husband is actually retired Army Reserve, so he spent a good bit of time at McClellan.
Yes, absolutely. Well, what I'd like to do right now is I'd like you and me to get into a virtual DeLorean and go back to the future in your life.
Okay.
So you mentioned that you were born to entertain, and you started delving into it at age 5, I believe, is what your intro said.
Yeah, I remember singing in my grandmother's church when I was 5. Little little church called Hatchet Creek in Clay County, Alabama, which is where my mom's from. Yeah, which is probably not too far from Anniston, because Clay County is right next to Talladega County, or Talladega as we call it, which is not too far from Anniston, because the comedy club owner from Anniston mentioned that he would be mainly marketing to Talladega and like the Pell City area. So
now I just learned something, because I didn't know I was pronouncing Talladega wrong. Talladega.
Well, most people say Talladega, but people that are from there say Talladega.
Talladega,
like digging up something.
Talladega. Yeah. So that's where NASCAR is at.
Well, they have the Speedway there, which is a big deal for NASCAR fans. And when I was growing up, they had the Winston 500 and the Talladega 500. And now I don't know what they call the Winston 500, because they had to rename it, because somehow they weren't supposed to name it after cigarettes or something. Yeah. So, and I mean, I'm not a big NASCAR fan. My brother and my dad used to go when my brother was younger, but I've never been to a race. I'm
a huge car racing fan. Like as a little kid, I was born and raised in Portland, Oregon, and we had a home track that fed into NASCAR once every 30 years, that fed into NASCAR. No, it was not important, but we had a fence, and it had those knotty pine holes, and I would go there and watch the races through there, because our family couldn't afford to pay.
Okay.
Not even back then.
Wow.
Yeah. I loved it.
Cool. Well, and an interesting thing, I have been to the racetrack, but I just haven't watched a race. But like the seats are different colors. Like they have, I think it was blue and red, but I could be wrong. It's been a couple of years, but they have some of the seats different colors. So on TV, it looks like somebody's there. It looks like it's more populated.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you say you're not interested really in NASCAR. So what are some of your, I'm going to go back to your childhood in a minute, but
Okay.
right now we're talking about present day. So let's go with it. So in your life, when you want a day off from all of what you're accomplishing on stage, what is it that Joyce Liles likes to do? Do you smell flowers? Do you watch birds? Do you sing in the shower? What are you made of?
Oh, I sing everywhere. I mean, I randomly burst into song, and people that know me just go on with their lives because they're used to it. But I do love to shop. My degree is in fashion merchandising.
What?
But my degree is in fashion merchandising.
Wow.
Yeah. Of course, my day job is actually at Olive Garden because there's more money in the restaurant business than in the retail business.
Wow.
And
That says something.
I have to support my comedy habit. Just kidding. But
Olive Garden. I love Olive Garden.
cool.
They get a bad rap. I love that joint.
Oh yeah, me too. Of course, my favorite. I don't eat a lot of meat, so my favorite thing is the eggplant parm. But I like to add. I add mushrooms to it, which makes it even better. So yeah, but I love to shop. I love thrift stores because you never know what you're going to find. So, and I have one of my outfits I have planned for tour is this faux leather snakeskin print skirt. Yeah, I paid like $6 for, and I absolutely love it. Can't wait to wear it. But I mentioned talking to you earlier. I'm 55 and I live along with 4 cats. So, the cats were
55 and what?
And I live along with 4 cats.
Nice.
I think you could hear one of the cats earlier. So, yeah, I don't. I guess I fit into that crazy cat lady category, which is okay. They keep me company.
Yeah, I don't know what the cutoff is to really be considered, Coco for Cuckoo Puffs with cats, but 4 might not be enough these days with the way the pandemic has affected people.
Well, they're enough for me, but I don't know if the term crazy cat lady refers to the lady or the cats or both. In my case, it's probably both. But like I said, I'm 55, and what you see is what you get. So
Absolutely. Well, I think that you're authentically yourself, and I think you'd be a riot to watch on stage. So kudos on your tour, and that's starting in just a few days. Now we're going to get in the DeLorean I promised you. We're going to trip on back to little Joyce, little Joycey, the girl that had a nickname in school. Everybody called you.
Well, I remember being called Jerse for some reason, like Jerse, and I don't really know why. I think it came from a girl that had an older sister named Joyce, and her nickname was Jerse. But yeah.
Nice. And so in school and in your home, when you were about 5 and performing at your grandmother's church, I think you said.
Yes, ma'am.
What were you like? Paint us a little picture of that little girl inside of you.
Well, it's funny because I've always, I don't know if you're into astrology. I'm not like completely into it, but I am a total Leo.
You're from the Bible Belt. You could be hung for this.
Wow. Well, I mean, God made the stars. I don't understand why some Christians think it's wrong to follow astrology. Not that I, am completely into it, but a lot of it makes really good sense.
It does. Absolutely. Yeah.
So
I'm just teasing you because you're from the Bible Belt talking about astrology.
Well, yeah, and like me and some of my friends, I mean, I'm a Christian and I have friends that are Christians that we have had, this conversation. Why is it wrong to follow something that God created?
I know.
I mean, I don't understand that. And sorry not to get preachy, but if God wants to convict me about, telling people I'm a Leo, he will. And that's between me and God.
Absolutely.
That
I
makes
love that
any
reply.
sense. So
I love that reply. I just thought it was so adorable that somebody from Alabama is talking about the stars and, astrology. I thought that could be a felony in Alabama.
well, maybe it's not. And hey, maybe a cute cop will come and handcuff me if it is.
So let's go back to the 5-year-old Joyce. Tell us what you were like. Were you funny? Were you the one that always entertained your family? Who were you? Quiet, shy?
Oh, I've never been shy. Like I said, I've always kind of liked attention. And of course, it's funny because my brother is the complete opposite. And like my mom has Cherokee Indian in her family. My dad's family is mostly German. My maiden name was Wilhite. And my brother is blonde and blue-eyed.
Whoa.
And used to sunburn. I have brown hair, brown eyes, and I tanned it very easily as a child. Of course, as an adult, we get busy. We don't see the sun as much. So I, do wear the sunscreen now. But my brother is still very shy. And he's 58. And I remember one time growing up, we were at the Christmas parade in Coleman, and somebody wanted Thomas to be on the float because one of the kids hadn't showed up, and Thomas didn't want to do it. And I'm like, I'll do it. And so I had on this like red and white striped shirt, red pants that they gave me to wear, but I had to roll them up because they were too big for me. But yeah, like I'll be on the float. So I'll be in the parade. So
what age were you then?
I have no idea. I mean, probably 6 or 7. I mean, I wasn't very old, but I mean, I was old enough that I remember it.
Yes.
So
take us through like grade school and high school, how you as a human person developed. So you were never shy, you sang in the choir, and take us through, let us get a glimpse into you growing up, if you would, through college.
well, I was a daddy's girl. Like I said, it was just me and my brother. Thomas was a typical mama's boy. I was a typical daddy's girl. I mentioned in my little bio that you told me to try to be braggy. I don't really know how to be braggy, but joined band in 5th grade. Loved band. Marched 7th grade with clarinet. I went to a very small high school where we marched 7th through 12th grade. I marched color guard 8th grade through 4 years of college, but I still played clarinet in the concert band. I played oboe my 11th grade year in concert band.
Wow.
But my mother was a teacher. So, I mean, and I was like student council president. I was on Scholars Bowl. So, and it's funny. And this is like a premise for a joke that I haven't really written yet. But I was always the smart girl in high school. I wasn't known as the pretty girl. And like years later, people have told my mother, for instance, at my 10-year class reunion, the guy that was a high school quarterback told my mother that I was really pretty. Of course, I was married at the time anyway, with 2 kids at my 10-year reunion. But I'm like, well, he missed out, didn't he? Because people never saw me as the pretty girl. I was Miss Wilhite's daughter, or I was the smart girl. And of course, ironically, when my kids were in high school, I was the hot mom.
I like that. So you went in high school, you were not necessarily sought after. You weren't seen as the pretty girl. You were the smart girl.
Yeah. And like I to this day, I have never dated anybody from my high school.
Me too.
So
yeah. Old-fashioned me too there. So after high school, you trek on over to North Alabama College. What's it called?
The University of North Alabama. Okay. And sometimes we call it Tuna.
Tuna?
Yeah, because it's the University of North Alabama.
Oh, okay, got it. All right. So what's the mascot of that team?
The Lions. And we have a live lion. or they have a live lion. I'm obviously not there anymore, but
They have a live lion?
yes, Leo.
Wow.
And they had a female too, but the female died a few years ago. Not planning on getting another one.
Wow.
So,
Well, I don't have a joke for that, but I might by the end of the day.
okay.
you know. But so okay, so you go to college and your degree was in
Fashion merchandising.
fashion merchandise, which is like how to put clothes in a store window and sell them.
Yeah.
Is that it?
How to arrange them, in the store, in the window. Of course, a lot of merchandising jobs are just end up being going in and making sure the shelves are full or the racks are full. But yeah.
Yeah. I went through high school with a girl out in Oregon named Linda Vine, and she got a degree in fashion merchandising. And that's the only reason I know what it is.
Okay. Well, and a lot of people with fashion merchandising degrees will go on to be buyers for department stores and, things like that.
And that turns out to be lucrative.
Yeah, but it's a hard job because you have to know what people are going to buy or try to predict what people are going to buy. And sometimes you're right and sometimes you're wrong. And
wow. I knew a gal that was a buyer for a jewelry store. And, if she made the wrong decisions, she had, she wasn't necessarily in a good mood for a month or two. That's hard work. Absolutely. So you go to college, and then straight out of college, you started working in your degree field?
Well, while I was in college, I worked for a department store called McRae's, which is no longer with us. And there's been a lot of buyouts. I can't tell you, like they were bought out by somebody else that was bought out by somebody else. But yeah, I was already working in retail when I graduated college. But then I think I worked at McRae's for a year, and then I actually took a job as a teacher's aide at Muscle Shoals High School, and I did that for a year. And then I actually went back to college to work on an education degree, but I ended up getting married and having kids instead.
And you have 3 children?
I have 4.
4. Wow.
Yeah.
So take me through their ages right now. Tell me their sex and ages, if they're open about their sexes.
Yeah. Well, I have 2 boys and 2 girls. My boys are the oldest. Wesley is 29, and he is actually in the Army stationed at Fort Lewis, Washington. And Riley is 27. He is a nonverbal autistic. Evie is 25. She's married. She has a mechanical engineering degree from UAH. And
what's UAH? What is UAH?
I'm sorry, University of Alabama in Huntsville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then Kristen is 21, and she is getting her real estate license.
You've got 4 success stories.
Well, yeah, I'm very proud of them, of course. So
absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so you go through college and you have these different scenarios and you get married. And what's happened in your life from the time of getting married, having kids till today?
Well, me and their dad divorced in 2005. I worked for Gap for 12 years before they closed the Florence store, because Gap in 2015 closed a lot of stores, and ours was one of them. And then I actually worked a management job at a fast food restaurant, which was a good job, but I had no life. And Kristen was 14. The 21-year-old was 14 when I left that job and went to work at Olive Garden, because Olive Garden's very flexible and I could do my comedy, do my acting kind of thing. So yeah, I've been at Olive Garden for 5 years now.
And in your acting, what are you the most proud of? A few things that you want us to know.
Well, I really don't know. I mean, y'all can look at my IMDb. I mean, mostly it's been, independent things. And I actually think I mentioned earlier that I did extras casting on the movie Space Waters, which is a cute little movie. I highly recommend. But I think I'm really good at casting. And
Meaning you're good at making the decision who gets into films?
yeah.
Really?
And like I said, I'm not never been shy, so I'm a people person. So I know, excuse me, I know a lot of people. So I'm like, oh yeah, I know somebody that would be perfect for that.
That's
Kind of thing.
great.
But I will say, a friend of mine owns a company called Jimmy TV, which is going to be a streaming service. It used to be a website where he had some original content, but now he's going to make it a streaming site, and where he's going to have original content still, but also some syndicated content. But I do play the mayor of Huntsville in a original series called Black Shero.
Wow.
So that's pretty exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I have a new, a friend of mine's getting ready to film a pilot called Hightower that I play the main character's mom. So I'm excited about that too. But I have also, I mentioned a fashion merchandising degree. I've done wardrobe on a few things, which is fun. It would be more fun if I had a bigger budget.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, like one of my dream jobs would be to do wardrobe on a project that actually had a budget for wardrobe.
Oh, okay.
Because, it's just like, going on this comedy tour. I have in my mind, oh, I would love to wear this to this show and this to this show. But, you've heard of champagne taste on a beer budget.
Yes.
I can have champagne taste on a tap water budget. So,
well, as long as the tap doesn't dry up, you're good.
Yeah.
You can go to secondhand stores and I get my prom gowns for $3.50 at Goodwill.
Cool.
Yeah, I love wearing.
I paid $6 for my faux leather skirt, but I love it and can't wait to wear it.
I want to see a picture of it.
Okay.
And there's something I would love to do. I know we're getting near wrapping up here, and I thank you for coming on in your time and sharing your life. But I know you have an upcoming tour. We talked about it a couple times already. But the cast that's on your upcoming tour, I want to invite all of you to come on every single time you go to a different city, the day before, the morning of, to come on and plug for that city, and I'll promote it all over.
Cool, thank you.
You're more than welcome to bring them all on and chat, and you know how we banter and invite people in your area of that tour that day to come out.
Cool. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Take me up on it if you'd like to.
Okay.
That's up to you. So now let's get to the wrap up portion.
Okay.
So I got two quick questions. What's the one thing you didn't get to do yet that you want to do in your performing life?
Just one?
Okay, two.
Well, I really would like to make a career out of comedy. That's why I'm so excited about this tour. I'm excited about, the content, the contacts that we'll make, and hopefully it'll turn into more shows. So I guess I don't know, one thing I want to do is quit my day job.
There you go. That's very doable.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Okay. And then the very last question. Let's say you're lucky enough to get to my age of 71 and look as hot as I look.
You look great.
I'm only saying that because I went online and I Googled what Marilyn Monroe would look like if she was lucky enough to be as old as me. And this is what I found. So in comparison, I'm pretty hot, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Anyway, let's say you're lucky enough to get to my age before you croak. What is it you want to accomplish? What is the thing you want to be accomplishing so that you're remembered for it? Or have you already done that?
Well, I mean, I'd like to make a difference in the world, but one thing that I think especially female comedians don't do enough, we don't support each other.
Thank you.
And I want to be known as somebody that supported not only other female comedians, but also just other comedians in general.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I know that women complain that men get all the spots. And then I've noticed that at comedy clubs, men actually come and show up for each other. And when men are on stage, other men laugh really loudly at their comedy, whether it's well constructed and all that funny or not. And women sit there and make other women really work for a laugh, where the men don't. And so I think that we need to show up for each other and help promote each other's shows, not just our own.
Yes, absolutely.
It's nothing to see guys here in Vegas, do a show and 5 or 10 guys will show up to support.
Yeah,
Can you?
that's
Yeah, it doesn't happen for women. You're lucky if one woman shows up to support.
yeah. And I've heard stories of women basically blackballing other women because they're jealous. And that
Absolutely.
shouldn't happen. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, like I said earlier, doing a whole tour with all women.
Yes, that's
yeah.
Have you heard of Carol Montgomery out in the New York area?
I haven't.
She does a thing called, it's gone big time on HBO. It's called Women of a Certain Age. Fran Drescher, the nanny, kicked it off the first season.
Okay.
So now she's incorporating women of a certain age, whatever that is, and who are funny. So she promotes, she's taking it big time around the country. So yeah, you've got a real market there.
Oh.
Yeah. Absolutely, women. And then you got Penny Marshall, who used to be on that Salsa with Penny Marshall, and Penny Marshall's the person that played with Penny Marshall on the show Halls and Pfeffer Incorporated back in the day. Not
Laverne
Penny
Shirley?
Yeah, Shirley now has a road thing called Menopause the Musical.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, it's a musical, but it's also comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot in the women's area. It's very marketable. So I wish you the best with your comedy tour. Right now you have, how many are on that tour? 2 and a guy? 2 women and a guy?
Yeah, it's me, Bobby Sutton, and Ty Funny.
Who?
Ty Funny is the male.
Ty Funny?
Yeah.
Where's Ty Funny out of?
He's out of Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Bobby's actually out of Birmingham.
Got it. Yeah, Bobby Sutton's name sounds so familiar. I've probably been on a Zoom with her.
Okay. Are you in the Hot Breath Pro group?
The hot what?
Hot Breath Pro group that Joel Byers does?
No.
Okay. It's a writing group that we have twice a day. Bobby is the one that posts the word of the day in the morning.
Oh, what's it called?
Hot Breath.
Hot Breath. I've put in things for that.
Okay.
Yeah, Hot Breath. That's where I know her from.
Yeah.
Super. Well, okay, so I've invited your cast of your tour to come on. And let's see. So now's the very end of this scenario. So I need you to tell everybody where to follow you and then end it with coming out to the tour.
Well, I am at Joyce Liles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Liles is Liles. Some people try to spell it with a Y, but it's JoyceLiles at Joyce Liles. Our tour kicks off November the 30th at Kingpins in Tuscumbia. Then we will be on the 1st, we'll be at Happy Hour Comedy Club in Anniston. On the 2nd, we'll be in Richmond, Virginia at Castleberg Brewery and Tap Room. And then the 3rd will be at the Carmack in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Fabulous. So one night in each place, is that correct?
Yes.
Super
And-
duper.
And it's going to be crazy because, like, literally Anniston, there's a 9-hour drive from Anniston to Richmond, Virginia, and there's a time difference, but I'm like, I wanted to be a road comic. Here I go.
Exactly.
So,
I'm telling you, the sky is going to open up for you, because when you're willing to delve in and commit, then things change. It's going to be great for you.
well, thank you. I certainly hope so. And Ty and Bob, you were both very funny. I'm excited to be on tour with them. So, I mean, it's going to be a good time.
Absolutely. Well, thank
So-
you so very much for coming on to Comic Spot. This will go on my YouTube, which is comedian
Cool.
Linda Marcus Smith. So please subscribe and share the video. And I wish you the very best in your comedy and in your comedy life and in your life and in your tour.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joyce Liles, Liles, you guys.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I probably typed it wrong.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people do. So I just wanted to clarify. So,
Absolutely.
because
Thank you
otherwise,
so
they'll have a
much.
hard time finding me.
What?
Otherwise, they'll have a hard time finding me if they spell it wrong. So,
I know. Yeah, you got to type things correctly, or you could wind up finding out stuff you don't need to know. You know, have you ever Google searched and typed something wrong and you're like, oh, I don't want to know this?
I think it's interesting, like when you start to Google search something, the predictive things that come up, I'm like, did somebody really Google that? Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. Well, have a great day. And thank you again for coming on to Comic Spot.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye, Joyce. Nice getting to know you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.